This is Doctor Talks, real talk from real doctors on the issues that matter to you most. Hi, welcome back to the conversation. Today, we are talking all about lymph, and I have with me the esteemed Kelly Kennedy. Hi, Kelly, welcome.
Thank you, Laura, the esteemed Laura.
Yes, well, you are, and I hold you in very high regard and high esteem, and I want our audience to know who you are as we jump into this important conversation. Kelly, you specialize in bioregulatory medicine, and really you're one of my mentors in that field. It's a field that I learned about a couple of years ago, and ever since I learned it, I can't unlearn it. So first and foremost, I want to thank you for being such a huge part of my learning as I've, embarked on this functional medicine journey myself. But you also specialize in energy and body work. You're commonly referred to as the Lymph Queen, and you teach how this, what I would call overlooked body system, overlooked by Western medicine, overlooked by a lot of functional medicine, how it has a huge impact on whole body health. Now, you have a clinic in Pennsylvania, the True Wellness Center. You also have a podcast, Flow, Lymphatic Wisdom, Open Your Heart and Optimize Wellness. And, on a personal level, you treat my family as well. So thank you so much for being here to contribute to our beloved audience here. I want them all to know what I learned from you and what my family benefits from you. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Laura. You're a beautiful woman inside and out, as is your family, and your ability to communicate and spread messages is impressive and impactful. And I'm so honored to know you and to be a part of this because, that is something that I've learned from you of how to get better at that, because the messaging is only as important as the people getting the message. And, it's so important to teach people, as my mission is to teach people how their body really works and create the bridge between this physical body and how it relates to the world around us and how we can work with it to optimize this beautiful experience of life and getting to know beautiful people and being able to spread magic and wellness instead of illness. There's a goal.
Yeah, that's a huge goal. And I love what you said. You want to teach people how their body really works. So there's a lot of myths about how our body works, and then there's how our body really works. And so we're going to just jump right into this conversation. So what's the significance of the lymphatic system? Because like I said, it's kind of a forgotten or misunderstood or just overlooked system. And how is it linked to inflammation and chronic disease? And we'll start there.
Yeah, well, I'll try to be succinct in my messaging because I just got off the phone with somebody and I was talking about the fact that, did you know, and it was somebody who was pre-med and who had a 4.8, over a 4.0 grade point average at a great school and runs her own biotech company. And she's like, well, yeah, I know that because I learned it from you. And that made my heart sink because we have 3 times more lymphatic fluid than we do blood. And yet here's this valedictorian of high school, went to college valedictorian, opened her own biotech company, working in medicine, and literally only learned about the lymph system from me. And that needs to change because the lymph system, if we have 3 times more of it than the blood, there's more of a terrain, more of an environment of that. And it's like looking at your house and going, well, you have furniture and then you have floor space. Which do you have more of? Well, you definitely have more floor space than you do furniture. And that's what Western medicine, allopathic medicine, symptom-driven solutions are based upon blood work and suppressing blood work. And I just never understood that because of how I was trained and what I learned really early on was looking at the environment in which those cells is living in is the most important thing. And that environment is the lymph and the fascia. So the fascia, I know you have the expert Deanna Hansen talking about, so I don't have to say a thing about it because she is the best. We are so excited that she is on your summit as well. So definitely listen to that. But the lymphatics is really the circulatory system that doesn't have a pump. So it helps us circulate not only our toxicants, but our nutrients, our gases, our oxygen. And there's vessels, but there's also lymph nodes. And most people don't know about lymph nodes until, unfortunately, they've heard of somebody that has cancer or something like that. And then or they say, oh, my kids' tonsils are swollen. My neck has lymph nodes in it, right? Well, we have lymph nodes throughout our whole body, from our head to our toes. We have between 600 and 1,000 of them. And that's incredible, right? First of all, that's quite the range, 600 to 1,000. And we also have lymph glands, the thymus gland, the bone marrow. That's the two areas of the body that mature our white blood cells. So might that have something to do with chronic illness? Perhaps. The white blood cells, you know, the fighter cells, the cops, if you will, that clean up the garbage taker outers, that's your white blood cells. They're matured in your two lymph organs, the thymus and the bone marrow. The spleen is your largest lymphatic organ, which tonifies your blood, which has a lot to do with your white blood cell maturity or your white blood cell activation. Your Peyer's patches in your small intestines creates white blood cells. It's part of your lymphatic system. Your appendix stores probiotics, part of your lymphatic system. And your tonsils are the gatekeepers to your lymphatic system. These are the glands, but then we have these nodes. And it's at the level of the nodes that when the fluid in the body, which absorbs all of the extracellular matrix, it absorbs all the nutrients, all the pathogens, all the toxicants, and this fluid is collected and pumped through these collector vessels, then it goes into the lymph node. And the lymph node is like this little chamber that's really small, like 2 centimeters or smaller. And it's this little chamber, the fluid goes in, and in the chamber, it goes, oh, what's in you, fluid? Do you have pathogens? And what are the pathogens? Are they allergens? Are they viruses? Are they bacteria? And based upon what they are, or toxicants, then we are going to send out the right cops to go and get those, the right white blood cells. If it's more of an allergen, we're going to send a basophil. If it's an eosinophil, or, you know, different white blood cells for different burdens in the body. And that happens at the lymph nodes. And then once the lymph nodes are stimulating that and moving into the cardiovascular system, we breathe out more of our toxins than we do anything else. We pee them out, we poop them out, we sweat them out. But the body doesn't have a pump for this lymph system. So it doesn't move unless we move. And what I'm here to tell you as well is that it gets junked up, it gets clogged up, it gets thick, it gets burdened because, and we'll talk about the things that thicken it and burden it, but it's also because it gets thick, it gets burned, but we don't move enough, and we don't move in unusual ways. We have repetitive motion versus moving our upper body or moving our arms and opening this area up, which is where 20% of our lymph is in our neck and 50% is in our gut. And so
we're gonna get into talking about how to open it up today too. And I think we can do some demos today. We have some time for that, which will be really, really amazing. And everyone listening right now, I want you to know that in my programs, when people have obvious need for lymph support, I just send people to Kelly's YouTube channel. I say, go watch her teach you how to do how to release lymph and do lymph massage, because you are the best at it. So we're going to get into that today. I had this crazy analogy like come up in my head when you said that the lymph is like the floor space, and then you've got all this, there's, you know, what is there more of in your body, floor space or furniture? And I had this crazy thought, like Western medicine is just looking at the furniture. If the furniture is synonymous with the organs, they're only focused on the major organs. And honestly, they're swapping them out. Oh, this furniture's old. Let's take it out and give you a new one. Right? Instead of solving, and I mean, we have like organ transplants, and we have people just taking stuff out, like, oh, you don't need that gallbladder anymore. Oh, you don't need that appendix anymore. You don't need your tonsils anymore. You don't need your uterus anymore. You don't need any.
You don't need those 58 lymph nodes anymore that were next to the breast that had the tumor. And we're going to take 58 of your lymph nodes in your neck and your chest. Now you're going to have lymphedema, and you're going to have to manage that the rest of your life. Yeah, there's a lot of like,
yeah. I'm misguided. I'm sorry. My brain was just like brewing this analogy when you started that. So now that we know how, I mean, what you've just laid down for everyone is that lymph is literally everywhere in your body. It's more prevalent than circulatory system. You've got more components to the lymph system than any other system in the body. Like when you think of the cardiovascular system, the pulmonary system, the urinary system. I mean, obviously we have lots and lots of arterioles and vessels, and lymph is huge in the body. So
it's in every nerve vessel as well. You find lymph channels in the nerves. So it's literally, no matter what symptom you have, there's a lymphatic involvement.
So basically, if you aren't addressing lymph, you probably aren't addressing the full spectrum of what you can do to solve the problem. So now, can you link kind of the cascade, what I would call the cascade of symptoms to chronic illness. So I'd like you to link that with lymphatic systems. So people show up, say, in my practice with low energy, brain fogginess, skin rashes, digestive symptoms, pain, and then they start collecting. If that doesn't get resolved, they start collecting chronic conditions like thyroid dysregulation, adrenal problems, diabetes, fibromyalgia, pain syndromes, you name it. And then if that doesn't get addressed, they progress to further cascade of decline into chronic inflammatory disease, like cancer, like heart disease, like Alzheimer's, like Parkinson's, like neurodegenerative disorders, and so on. Can you explain to us what is the role of the lymphatic system in that cascade? And I would say that decline from symptom to, end stage.
That might be the best question I've ever been asked. So I'm so excited to answer it. Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you. The cells and the organs are being signaled to then behave and function. Where are they being signaled from? The environment that they're in. And if that environment in the lymphatic, which is that space between the cells, that is where the body collects the debris. That's where it collects the pathogens, the toxicants that it can't get out, that it can't drain out, that it can't detoxify out. This started because my gut didn't work that great. Instead of pooping 5-7 days a week, twice a day, I started pooping once a day. Then I started a couple days a week. I don't poop. Well, I get a couple headaches. Well, my cycle's not good. The first sign in your body is a signal from your body trying to tell you that there's something going on. And what we have done in society and what we've been trained is to suppress it. So what the lymph is, it's all connected and it is circulating all the time. And we've got to drain out our toxins. That's the body's job. But because of really the modern day living, there's a lot of obstacles to allowing that to drain. We don't walk as much as we did when we were, in more survival mode. We're not as active. We eat more food. We eat more processed food. And so that builds up toxicities in the body. And then you take stress into account and that shuts down the parasympathetic nervous system and incites the sympathetic nervous system. And when you're in the fight, flight, sympathetic nervous system mode, your lymph isn't draining because your body isn't handling that right then. It's just trying to survive. In order to engage the parasympathetic, the rest, the healing, the digesting, we also engage that lymphatic system. So the body's in healing mode when it's draining, and when it's draining, or when it's in healing mode, it drains. So both things are true. We know that. And we know that when the body can drain out the toxicants, there's more space. When there's less burden in the body, there's less dissonance and misfiring to the cells that are missignaling the cells that are then causing them to behave improperly. Hormonal dysregulation, what's the biggest hormonal disruptor in the whole body? Metal. Where does metal live in the body? In the lymphatic system. And if it's not in the lymphatic system, then it's hiding in your fascia and it's creating blockades and storing it, like the closets in your house are your fascia and your rooms are your lymph. And if you just buy stuff all the time and bring it into your house and you never clean it out, you're going to be a hoarder and you're not going to be able to walk through your house. And the lymph system is that. Most people are hoarders in their bodies. They're hoarding on to their burdens from, did you know my mom was mean to me when I was 7? And did you know that I had a Diet Coke when I was 47? And oh my God, let go of the past and be present with yourself and take a breath and know whatever you did in the past is okay. And be present right here. And let's start pumping our lymph nodes and letting it out and breathing it out, because then we'll poop it out and sweat it out and pee it out as well. But we've got to first understand that this lymph system is holding on to our burden, physical, emotional, and mental. And that's what causes disease. The body's never making a mistake. The body's always trying to compensate for what it's trying to deal with. And if it's storing the burdens, it has to deal with burdens all the time. If it lets go of the burdens, there's nothing to, and now we've got regeneration and ease and expansion instead of degeneration. What are you laughing about?
You're just cracking me up. You have such good analogies, and you just perfectly illustrated for me the whole reason that I even am putting this entire summit together with all these discussions and conversations. is because I want people to realize you must solve at the root cause. You must solve chronic and hidden infections, parasites, bacteria, fungus. You must solve toxins, metals, environmental toxins, mold toxins. I mean, we're bringing people on talking about all these topics. You must solve traumas and stress. You have to. And you just literally linked every single one of those things to the lymphatic system. So that was amazing. So
there's a reason I'm called the Lymph Queen. And there's a reason I got involved with being in the lymph, because as I started to study medicine, as we saw, just like you, the chronic clients that have been everywhere, they've been to 10 other doctors, they've done all the protocols, they've tried all the things, and they are frustrated and they want to get better. And I couldn't detoxify them. They would get worse when they detoxified. And I looked at their CRTs, which is a quantitative assessment of the whole body, of all the meridians. And it's the only quantitative assessment I know for the lymph. And it was not 50% of the people. It wasn't 90. It was 100% of the people, including me, who had no symptoms, had jacked up lymph. And I started to find all the ways to solve their lymph problems. And all of a sudden, when I solved their lymph problems, their liver works better. Their kidneys worked better. Their sinuses drained better. They didn't have headaches. Their cycles got better. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not an idiot. I don't need to know all those systems. If I just know this system, it'll solve all the other problems and I'll look really smart. And that makes me happy. Let's do that.
Well, what makes me happy about what you just said is when you solve all those things, it heads people off from the decline that I explained just a little bit earlier of symptom to conditions to chronic diseases. So the work that you're doing is, I think of our health on a continuum of a ladder. So you're at the peak when you're at the top of the ladder, and then you start going down rung by rung. And when you get down in the middle of the ladder with autoimmunity and diabetes and thyroid dysregulation, and you want to go back up the ladder to peak potential in your health, lymphatic system, focus on your lymphatics. So this has been extraordinary already, Kelly. So thank you so much for joining us today for this talk and really, really unpacking lymphatics for us and how that pertains to the root causes of chronic illness. And to our audience, I hope you found our conversation insightful and helpful. If you're a Summit purchaser, stay right here because we're about to dive even deeper into this discussion with Kelly, and we're going to do a demonstration on how to support yourself and release your own lymph and get it flowing. And we'll talk about simple strategies that you can do at home. We'll even share some devices for you that are easy to help you. And if you are not a Summit purchaser, click on this page to get access to a continuation of the conversation and many others and get the tools you need to reclaim your health. If you're watching this continuation of my talk with Kelly, thank you for being a valuable member of our community. And let's dive right back in. So Kelly, now that we have really explained thoroughly how important lymph is, I think we connected all the dots there. Let's tell people how to fix their lymph. I mean, let's jump into this. So the floor is yours. Do you want a demo? Do you want to, what do we want to do?
I think we start with the sequence, the order of things and how it drains. I think that's to understand that the lymph system is a pressure, valve, relief system. So there's pressure, we open up a valve, it relieves the pressure, and then the pressure behind it can move. It only goes in one direction. So you never have to worry about, oh, did I backflow my lymph? No, it's impossible. And I've heard people teach that. I'm like, I don't know what physiology you're studying, but okay. But you can have backed up lymph. You can't backflow it, but it can be backed up. That is the distinction people understand.
It can be kind of clogged, like it's not moving.
Right, like it's
thick,
it's stagnant. It's like gelatinous instead of watery, and it gets thick because of stagnancy, because of sedentary lifestyles and all the things that we talk about. So, but you can't do it wrong.
Awesome.
But mostly, I would say you're probably going to learn that the touch, the pump that we're going to incite with you is important, but also the order in which it's done is very important because of how it is relieving the system from this pressure of the lymphatics. So the most important points are always going to be above our clavicles. Right in this little scooped in area above in our neck area is where they're both called terni. One on the left is called the left thoracic termini, which just stands for your neck area essentially. And then the right is called your right clavicle duct. The left one drains 75% of your body.
Wow.
Drains 25% of your body.
So the left side is really important.
Yay, Laura's so smart. That's exactly right.
I have a question. I prefer to sleep on my left side. Does that have anything to do with this?
Yes, it is all related. Yes. We talk about that at some point, but yes.
Okay.
So the left side of the body drains 75%. So the right side, let's just talk about that for a second. The right side is going to drain the right side of my head, my right arm, and my right breast. Oh, I'm sweating. Okay, so it's going to drain all that area. The left side is going to drain the left side of my head, my left arm, my left breast, and then my entire lower body. Right in the abdomen, like right here's my belly button, right above my belly button, about 2 or 3 finger grips right there. There's a little sac. It's not called a lymph node. We don't know why. It's not been given the quality quantifying as a lymph node, but it must miss something. But it's just an empty sac, and it's called the cisterna chyli. And the cisterna chyli drains both legs and the abdomen up to this point, just below the sternum. And then that drains all the way up to this left thoracic. And that's how your lower body drains.
Okay.
So there's 2 most important points are here. If there's 3 points, it's here in the cisterna. So if I don't have any other lymph points that I have the time to move right now, but I have some symptom, because we just learned that no matter what the symptom is, it's stuck in the lymph. So go to the lymph first, and then you don't have to be so smart. Just work on your lymph. And I just want you to pump, and I'm going to show you how to do that properly in a minute, but you're going to pump the termini and you're going to pump the cisterna. You're going to take a breath first, engage that parasympathetic nervous system. Then you're just going to gently pump with 5 or 6 pumps. And the pump is this motion. It's not, if you're going to find an avocado or a peach or, a soft fruit plum that you wanted to see if it was ripe, you're going to gently see if it's just firm enough and not soft enough. That's exactly what you want to employ the pressure in your lymph node. It's a little pump, and it's not a push down on my muscle. I'm not massaging it. I'm just gently pumping it, and I'm creating, like, the lymph moves in this wave-like pattern. It flows like water. So what you're trying to do is create a wave, create a ripple. You're working. Oh, I've never explained it like that. It's really good. So you want to create a ripple effect. So you're creating like a flow. Wonder why I call it flow formula. So you're going to create a flow, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, some people are going, do I pump this direction or do I pump this direction? Doesn't matter. Just pump that. Just pump. Okay. Then the cisterna would be the next one. So we're going to go to our belly button.
All I'm thinking here is avocado, Laura, avocado, peach. Like, don't hurt that thing.
That's right.
This is not deep tissue massage. This is not deep tissue. This is gentle.
The lymph lives 1/8 of a millimeter below our skin.
Oh, it's right there.
It's right there. And you don't, if you push it too hard, you're going to be in the muscle, and then you're not stimulating the lymphatic flow. So you just want to create like a little, like they used to say in lymph, butterfly kisses. And 20 years ago, when I started doing lymph, there was too much complex illness to do butterfly kisses. You needed to work the lymph because you had to work the fascia that's around the lymph a little bit. Because really, that's why I got so involved with fascia, because a lot of the lymph node release I teach is really a fascia move for the lymph.
Okay.
You got to move the fascia away, and Deanna can explain that. Okay. So you work these termini, then you go to the cisterna, which again, you go to your belly button, put your pinky in your belly button. And then where your 2 to 3 fingers lay is approximately where the cisterna is. Anatomy moves and changes, believe it or not, because organs and bones are suspended in your lymph, in your fascia. It's
I'm sorry, above belly button or below?
Above.
Above belly button, below the sternum.
Right. Exactly. Somewhere in this. Yep.
Okay. And then you're pumping right there.
Just gently, like I'll do it this way. You're going to go 1, 2, 3.
Upward motion towards the diaphragm.
Toward, and I'm all about attention, because where we put our attention, our energy goes. Where we send energy, blood flows, circulation flows. So I'm going to attend, as I pump that cisterna, that the fluid is going to go right up to that left thoracic.
Oh, you're like imagining it going there.
Yep. And I'm just going, that's where you're headed. That's where you are. Okay, good. Okay. Then I might go back and make sure they stay open and drained. The next area, and I have a whole manual, like I teach people how to do this on my website. I go through it in a masterclass. We have tools to do it, but I'm going to give you the 5 top areas, which the next 2 are the next area, that are the most important of all the lymph points. In my manual class, I teach like 12 points. In my master class, I teach another 10 to 12 points to teach how to work on your liver and your spleen and all these things. But know that the tonsils are the gatekeepers to the lymphatics, and everybody wants the brain to drain, right?
Question. I know people are thinking, but my tonsils have been removed.
Oh, good question. You have many types of tonsils, not just your appendicular tonsils. You have 20% of your lymph is in your neck. You have a lot of cervical lymph nodes, and the body's brilliant and will make workarounds. Not saying that you don't have a little bit of a deficit if you don't have your tonsils, but it would be like you live on a road and they put a detour up and they never take it down. You can still get home. You just have to like go around the detour to get home. So you can know the shortcut is you go through grandma's backyard and you don't have to go through the detour. So pumping your lymph node is going through grandma's backyard. If you don't have your tonsils, you're going to probably look at, because I feel like everybody should move their lymph every day. This is part of our self-care. This is, I got to brush my teeth every day. I got to take a shower every day. And I got to pump my lymph nodes every day. If I don't have tonsils, I at least want to pump my lymph nodes twice.
Yeah. Tragedy of my life is my tonsils were removed when I was 21 after a couple of years of massive mold exposures. Looking back now, I understand everything that happened so clearly, but yeah. So that was a bummer.
But it's okay because you'll have these workarounds. And I will say this, I've had clients that grew back adenoids that were taken out, grew back spleens that were taken out. I grew tissue where there was no wisdom teeth because I wasn't
grow some stuff back. That's where I'm putting my intention. I'm going to be pumping up going, grow back.
Exactly. And pump right outside your tonsil tissue. Listen, the body, I'm a scientist. That's exactly how the body works. Go for it. Okay. So the lymphatic tissue outside the tonsils is just like outside your jaw, below your ear. And it's typically a little tender for people. And now you're, again, attending as you pump that, you're going to pump it so it goes in the direction to go down to the termini, to where it drains out. So I want to drain my tonsils, and then all the cervical nodes will drain down to the termini. The termini will drain into the cardiovascular system, and I'll poop it out, pee it out, sweat it out, bleed it out. Okay. And then I'll pass the sternum. Those are the 5 most important points. And I'm telling you, if it's a headache, if it's anger, if it's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual stress in the body, pump your lymph and see what's left. Because the reason the body has symptoms is it has a toxicity attack. It doesn't have an anxiety attack. It doesn't have a headache. It has a toxicity attack. And that toxicity is either a pathogen or a toxicant. And we got to drain it out. And we drain it out through our lymph. Then as we start draining, we got to support that liver, because then the liver is going to have to catch all the shit that the lymph is starting to move.
Yeah.
So all the
stuff. It's okay. And also it's okay if you've had your gallbladder removed. There's life after gallbladder removal. Like it's okay.
Just like there's life after tonsil removal.
Yes.
Amazing.
Okay. So any other things you want to teach on kind of this manual work on the lymph? Because I know we have a tool that we want to show.
I just want to touch base about but Kelly, I don't have lymphatic stagnancy because I don't have lymphedema. Listen, Linda, if you are waiting for lymphatic stagnancy to turn in lymphedema, you're well down that curve. I call it the disease barrel, or the biological division of what you were just talking about. You're way down. Let's not wait for that. And I'm telling you, if you are at all puffy in this area, fluidy, if you're fluidy in the neck, if you're fluidy under your arms, if you have puffs versus armpits. Do you hear a beeping noise, or is it me? Sorry. There's something beeping. Oh, it's my keto mojo stupid thing. It's all of a sudden beeping for some reason. Sorry, total distraction there. Apologize. Then, what was I saying? I totally
armpit puffs.
Puffs. You can also be very fluid filled around the abdomen and in these inguinal areas and behind your knees. Wherever we bend is where we have the largest concentration of lymph nodes. People don't often get very fluid filled in their wrists, but the ankles, the elbow, or the elbows, the knees, the pelvis area, the abdomen, where we have 50% of them, the neck, the under the arms, and even the, look, my little sweat pit. But if you have this right here,
you don't wear toxic deodorant that stops sweating. That's why.
and I had my red light sauna on me that was just like lighting me up. It was so hot. But these areas should not be puffy and fluid filled. That's lymphatic stagnancy. And as you start to move your lymph, you'll see it will look like you got a facelift.
I've seen people with, puffs behind their knees, puffs in their armpits, where their armpits just are, there should be a like, it should be like a inverted cup there. Like it's a
concave.
Yes. Shouldn't be filled in. So
yeah, it doesn't matter your size. You should always have a deep crevice in this lymph, in this area. And this is the area of the body that I find gets the most stagnant.
Yeah.
Is this area up here.
Yes. You want to prevent breast cancer? You want to prevent breast cancer? How about do this twice a day and focus on that more than you focus on mammograms?
Well said.
Yeah.
Good job. Exactly. And everybody wants the brain to drain is what I was going to say. Everybody wants the brain to drain, but the brain won't drain because not only is it a pressure relief valve system, but we work with gravity. And so the brain won't drain until the neck drains. The neck won't drain until the majority of the body drains. And the majority of the body won't drain until you drain out all of this, work on that 75%, then work on the neck, then work on the head, and then the lymphatics will drain. Then the central and the peripheral nervous system can work way better because the autonomic nervous system is cleared out and can receive frequencies and send frequencies and amplify frequencies through the lymphatics and from the fascia and from the heart. And then most of that, all of that goes throughout the rest of the body without complication, without dissonance, without interruptions, with coherence and health.
This is so enlightening. I literally, I'm thinking, I'm beating myself up for not doing lymph massage as much as I know I should. I mean, I know you work with my family. I know I should be doing this. I'm like, Laura, why aren't you doing this more often? So you see, you guys, even people like me can fall off the wagon. So we got to recommit and get back to it.
Well, and I appreciate your candidness and your willingness to share your own journey. But and in all honesty, lymph is so undervalued, as is fascia, that I would really, if there's a reason I became the queen, I want it to be everybody. I shouldn't be the only one talking about lymph. I want everybody to be talking about lymph. I want everybody to be talking about fascia, because when we start to work in the flow, fascia, lymph, oxygen, water, energy, when we start to work with the flow state of the body, when we start to open that up, everything else gets easier and better because we're depending upon her or him, the nervous system, to make that happen instead of our minds to figure it all out. And it goes way better. And even me, like, I mean, not that I do a ton of lymph, but I'm just saying, like, I get to the point where I'm like, is it real? Like 5-6 years into this, I was like, is it really just, I feel like I just am a broken record. It's your lymph system. It's your lymph system. It's your lymph system. Then we would move the lymph and things would improve. So you're like, okay, yeah, it's the lymph system. And then you go out into the world and you're like, did I talk about the lymph system enough? And I don't think I did, because people are still talking about detox, and detox is important, but your detox is only as good as your drainage, and your drainage is in your lymphatic system.
Absolutely.
And I'm not kidding you that people that go through medical school don't know anything about the lymph system. I'm a massage therapist by training, one of my certifications. And I thought that was where I was going to get a lot of information about the lymph system. I'd already been working on the lymph system for 15 years when I went to massage school, and it was 4 pages. That's it. Cardiovascular, 30 pages. Skeletal system, 30 pages. Endocrine system, 30 pages. Lymph system, 4 pages. I'm like, you can't live without your lymph system for 1 minute. Why don't we have more than 4 pages devoted to it? And why does nobody know anything about it? And it's where your immune system is. Like, if it's identifying what white blood cells should be launched out to your circulatory system, and it's where your white blood cells are created and matured in its glands and its organs, I think it might have something to do with the immune system. I'm just thinking, it's just a hunch.
Maybe. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, me too, because it's really important for us to be in touch literally with our bodies, and to touch our bodies, and to notice, like, how many of you are really doing your own self-breast exams? How many of you have touched your breasts, touched your inguinals, touched your areas of your body? I make everybody touch their bodies.
Do you want to know something discouraging? The Western medicine system is now not recommending that women do self-breast exam anymore. And they really, like, towards the end of my conventional career. I don't work in conventional medicine anymore at all, but I can remember the recommendations for the practitioner to be doing a breast exam during the annual pap smear and physical, that it was just like, just rely on the mammogram. We can't find anything with physical palpation or physical exam, and most people can't find anything on their own. So we're doing away with that, check yourself. And I think that's a huge disservice. I mean, let's disconnect people from their bodies even more.
And more.
Let's disconnect. I'm like holding this. Let's disconnect practitioners from their body, from their patients' bodies even more. I mean, we could go down a rabbit hole, but let's talk about this thing.
Rabbit holes. This is the rabbit hole that you had perfect timing, because I was going to say the same thing. Like, I get people to touch their bodies a lot in all sorts of ways. And I was going to ask you to show them the lymph flow.
Yes. This is not what it looks like. This is for lymph.
This is a biosonic vibe tool called the Flow Vibe that I left mine at the office. So Laura had hers, which is great. And I'm going to show you how to use it. But those areas that we pumped is the same areas that we hold it. And a lot of people, because it feels like a massage tool, they tend to do this. Don't do that. Just hold it for 5 to 10 seconds. Then move it 5 to 10 seconds, then 5 to 10 seconds, then 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay, I'm going to demonstrate it now. So we're holding it 5 to 10 seconds, 5 to 10. And what I want to say is it's really flexible. So you can see it moves very easily. So you can get it into the contour of your neck. You can get it into the contour right above your clavicle here. What did you call that space again?
Just the subclavicle space. Yeah. Okay. Actually supraclavicle space. It's above the clavicle, but it's just that little nook that when you do that with your shoulders. Yeah. Yep. What Laura's demonstrating it. Always remember, if you have one side to start with, start on the left side, because that's 75% of your lymph drains there. Yeah. Good job, Laura.
Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just holding it 5 seconds, hold it 5 seconds, hold it 5 seconds, and then come up, hold it 5 seconds, hold it, and then go to the other side. Right. And then start with the clavicle and then move up to the neck, right?
The tonsil area and then down. When they buy a Flow Vibe, there's actually a QR code that shows you how to drain the whole face. Then I want you to apply that same thing to my manual technique that we're going to give your audience of how to pump their lymph nodes in both a PDF and a little video. But you can apply the vibe wherever you apply your hands, and you can apply the vibe anywhere you apply your hands. But the point is to truly touch your body. And I couldn't agree more. Like, getting people to palpate and feel their body. You had mentioned earlier about looking at, that was before we got on recording, but finding something that was before recorded.
Yeah, looking, like, I used to do physical exams looking for cancer, and I used to find a lot of melanoma, basal cell squamous cells, but we were talking about a melanoma story.
Yeah. And the thing is how much are you looking at your skin? How much are you touching underneath, so that when something becomes atypical? Because what she said in her brilliance of her medical mind was like, it's atypical. It needs to be researched. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be investigated. And we're not here to freak out about things. We're just here to investigate things. We know the body can heal all the time, but we know we have to pay attention to our bodies. And we've got to learn what these signals are. When it gets a headache, when it gets a rash, when it gets something, it's telling us that it's overwhelmed and it can't juggle anymore. And so we're going to move and stimulate those lymph nodes to give it that facilitation of moving out some of that burden. And then the alleviation will bring up our energy, make us feel better, alleviate the symptom. When we go, oh my God, look how brilliant I am. I have this great tool called my hands. But you first have to touch your body. And then once you're familiar with touching your body, first of all, you're not going to feel things atypical anymore, but you may start to. You might go, wow, one breast is different than the other. Wow. And that's very typical to have atypical things side to side. But then you'll see them start to balance out as you start to balance out the drainage of the body, to the point where literally I look in the mirror to this day, and I'm almost 50, and I swear to goodness, my body is better today than it was when I was 18, with the exception of some of the tonality. I work nearly as much as I did with it when I was 18, but the shape, the size, the symmetry is way better today than it was when I was 18.
And it's because you work on your fascia, you work on your lymph, you practice what you preach, you get the body work done. And what I want everyone to know as we wrap up here is that what Kelly is teaching you here today is a complement to anything you are doing with your current protocols and practitioners. In fact, layering this in will most likely expedite, speed up your recovery process and your results from what you're doing with your practitioner.
The only time I would say that that's not true is that if you're doing chemo, that you don't want to circulate the chemo through your body faster. And ideally, people listening to this aren't doing chemo, but we get it. Sometimes you have to do things to buy time, all that. Nothing is perfect and ideal. Everything's perfect and ideal. Mm-hmm. And you think about medications and so forth. So you don't want to take, if you're taking medications, you don't want to, oh, I'm going to take my medication and I'm going to pump my lymph, because you're going to circulate it faster through the body. So that's the only little caveat to it. Other than that, I 1000% agree. Everybody should be doing their lymph. There's no side effects to it other than it increases your circulation. You'll poop more, you'll pee more, you'll sweat more. You'll probably bleed more consistently. If you're in menopause, you may have a bleed, and that's typical. So don't be surprised about that. And as you start moving your lymph, this is the one side effect to all health. When you get healthier, as you move your lymph, your body's going to regulate more. You're going to be healthier. You're going to be able to compensate better. You're going to sleep better. You're going to notice all sorts of things are improving. The side effect of an organism being healthy is fertility, because its job is procreation. So Kelly Kennedy is here to tell you that I have my only child, and I'm very happy about that. I am not responsible if you get pregnant, because all of a sudden your cycle went off because you started to move your lymph and you didn't know when ovulation was, and all of a sudden, oops, you have a pregnancy. Because it happened a lot in those first couple of years, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I was like, all these people are getting pregnant, and they didn't even know they could get pregnant. And it was because we were moving their lymphatic system. People that were amenorrheic in their early 30s started moving their lymph, started getting their periods, had another baby. People in menopause didn't get their full cycles back, but 10 years hadn't had a cycle, and all of a sudden had 2 or 3 cycles as we're moving their lymph, which is why I am convinced that the prostate as well as the ovaries are part of our lymphatic system. So we got to move our lymph, and it will improve your sex life completely. Whether or not you use the Vibe, it really will, I promise you, because it lightens your burden and it allows you space. And as women, we need more space in our life. The men are always ready to go, let's be honest. We need more space to be ready to go. And a lot of that is because we're burdened with all of our thoughts and all of our things. And when we get into the parasympathetic, when we allow our bodies to drain our lymph, all of a sudden we're ready to we have space in our bodies, and then we can be connected to another person, and that connection to another person actually heals. I don't know how it turned into a sex conversation, Laura, but
well, I don't know. It's fine. It's what needed to happen, and somebody needed to hear it who's listening right now. So Kelly, this has been a wonderful talk. Thank you for pouring out all of your wisdom, for sharing, for demonstrating, and for giving our audience. So definitely look for Kelly's guide. Can you tell our audience where to find you? Because you do work with people in a physical location. You have online offerings. People can get the Flow Vibe from you and a masterclass on how to use it. I mean, you've got all kinds of resources. So where do we find you?
So thank you. So they can go to our website, The True Wellness Center. TheTrueWellnessCenter.com is the website. Instagram is True Wellness Global, and a lot of that stuff is available in our LinkedIn tree as well as on our website on the Learn tab. And then I have the podcast, The Flow. So we are in Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia. If anybody is looking for some deep body work and to truly not painful, just truly experience the energy inside your body in a visceral way, and deal with your emotions, that's what we do. And we're looking forward to loving on each one of you as we do it, including
at the time of the filming of this video, we are going to be in Pennsylvania seeing you in about 2 months. And I'm pretty excited about that. So can't wait to get in your hands. And it's like a full immersive experience. So when somebody comes to you, I mean, it's multiple days of body work, multiple hours a day of really, and that's how you really get people results, because you do so much work. It's not just, oh, we're just going to give you an hour lymph massage and you're done. You don't travel all the way to Kelly for an hour worth of work. You get immersed.
You your food come a packing, because I don't give a lot of lunch breaks either, because I only have you for 4 days in an immersion, and I got to Yeah, you're in there from 9 to at least 5 or noon to 8 on Thursdays. And it is one thing after another. We call it sleeping around your wellness. You just go from one room to the other, getting more and more parasympathetic and dumping more and more of your emotions and more of your burden. And you feel lighter and lighter and transformed, truly. I mean, we've been doing this long enough, and I feel confident to say that we can help somebody transform in 4 days' time significantly. Not that it's all done, but that they're different. And when they leave, their body different and they're draining better. And now, as you said, all the other protocols, all the other things they employ are working better because they're on a system, working in a system that's turned on in the parasympathetic mode so it can heal.
Yeah, I can't wait. Follow up to this interview.
Thank you for today. And thank you all for sticking with us and being a part of her summit and sharing the summit, because I agree that what Laura has done and what she always does is she's so good at putting the right piece of the puzzle together so that it makes it easy for you to navigate where to go next. And she's got such a beautiful tribe and community of people. And I know so many of the people that are speaking on this, and I'm so happy for you all to be able to experience all their wisdom and all their guidance for you to help you through your own case.
We do have an amazing lineup of people to support, and our tribes, our audiences, our communities, and our friends overlap. And so thank you, Kelly, for coming in and supporting this. And thank you for the laughs, and thank you for the wisdom and all of it. And until next time, everyone, take good care. Bye now.
Thank you for tuning in to Dr. Talks. We hope today's episode has enlightened and inspired you on your path to optimal health. Each day is a new opportunity to make choices that empower your well-being. For more insights and strategies, subscribe to our podcast and visit our website, www.drtalks.com. Stay connected, stay healthy, and join us next time on Dr. Talks. Real talks from real doctors on the issues that matter to you most.